Howdy. Today we're going to be doing a video on Harrow. Harrow Prime more specifically, but that's not the point. So, I've been inspired to do this video by another YouTuber, a bigger one. I'm not going to name who, because it's not exactly the good kind of inspiration. Their video was horrible, to be perfectly honest, and it kind of pissed me off just a tad bit. They did not build Harrow very well, they did not explain things very well, and it made me very upset because it's going to make people play Harrow wrong, and then they won't enjoy him when he can be a very good and fun frame. So we're gonna go over him real quick. First, we'll switch to a build without anything. So Harrow is first and foremost a support frame, or so that's what he would like you to think. But ultimately, that is not true. He's a buffing frame, a weapons platform like Mirage or Chrome. That is what he really excels at. He can support, though. He is able to give some benefits to teammates, which is nice. So he contributes to the team, but ultimately his main goal is to buff you yourself over everything else. Now, his passive is mediocre. Overshield capacity doubled, and you start missions at maximum energy. That second part is actually really nice, but the first part doesn't really matter. I mean, it's okay in lower end content since you get to be tankier, but in high end content, your shields get one shot anyway, so that's kind of relevant. Now, if overshields affected shield gate like they used to, then that would be nice, but that is not the case. So, his first ability, Condemn, is cast a wave of energy chains that will root enemies in place. And what's really nice about that is the way they're rooted in place makes them easy to get headshots, because you'll see soon that this frame is really based around headshots. So you throw it out, and they're trapped in place, and as you can see, they're all like very easy to hit their heads with. So range does not affect the width of this, it only affects how far the chains go. So range is important, but also not important. Like, it's important to not have negative range if you care about your one, but if you want to build into your one, you don't need to overdo it on range. Like, 300% range is going to be pretty worthless on this. Now, then here, we can just go straight to abilities. Right here, Penance, his second ability. Sacrifice shields to boost reload speed, fire rate, while converting damage inflicted on enemies into health for Harrow nearby enemies. So dealing damage to an enemy will heal you. Killing an enemy will also heal you. So you get a life of, or a lot of life steal. And any teammates that are close to you will also be able to get healed by both effects, both damaging and killing enemies, I believe. If that's wrong, make sure to correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So it's a pretty decent amount, 35% fire rate, 70% reload speed. Something important to note is that even though it only says fire rate, that does affect melee weapons. Or at least in my testing it does here. We do a live demonstration of it. Take a random melee, make sure it has no mods on it. Then we show whack, whack, whack. It's fairly slow. Activate Penance, and it's obviously faster. So even though it says fire rate specifically, it does affect the attack speed of your melee weapons. Now, it also gives the 70% reload speed, double that of the fire rate, to help balance out that you're going to be needing to reload very, very often. It has a horrible base duration of 4 seconds, but that's because the duration is affected by how much shields you consume. So if I do this with 740, I will be at 15-second duration. Now, it scales with how much shields you consume, which is actually where the overshield cap can be useful. Most of the time it's not, but mostly just for penance it can help. Because the more you consume, the more duration you get. If you end up getting a lot consumed, it does have a hard cap of 120 seconds, which is not affected by duration. Duration only affects how much you get when you consume it. The hard cap, regardless of duration, will always be 120 seconds, because you can consume your shields, get them back, and then consume them again with penance. Though, do keep note, it does drain energy on top of shields. Now we have Thurible. Thurible is going to be his energy generation. You channel Harrow's Thurible to generate a buff, and once it's finished, killing enemies will bestow nearby allies with bursts of energy, including yourself. The longer you channel it, the more energy you get per kill, and it's multiplied by 4 for headshot kills. So if we channel it, and it goes up to 10 energy, then we go and kill an enemy. I'm not sure this gun I have on is actually going to be capable of killing an enemy. Yeah, no, it's not. Here, let's put on a weapon real quick that can actually kill something. Like good old Paris, my baby. So we channel it. We get, here we'll stop at 15.5. Now if we kill an enemy, like to the body, it's going to take a second. I'll go into incarnate form. You will see. I know this is taking forever. I'm horrible at this. Don't worry about it. So we'll kill an enemy to the body, and you can see, there we go, 15.5 energy. And if you kill an enemy with a headshot, it's going to be 4 times that, 61.9 energy, rounding. So getting headshots is very important to keep your energy up. With this, you can have basically unlimited energy, and it does affect teammates too. However, it is affected by range. I believe your 2 is enemies or allies within a did I say enemies? Sorry, allies are affected by your 3. But I believe your 2 affecting allies is affinity range. Your 4, which we'll go over in a second, is also affinity range based. But your 3 is range stat based, which is confusing. So you can see the like weird ring out at the end. That's how far the range is. So if a teammate's within there, they get the energy. They do not get energy from them killing enemies. You killing enemies, as Harrow, bestows energy to teammates within the range. So then finally we have his bread and butter, Covenants. You activate this ability, and for 6 seconds you become invulnerable to damage, and so do any teammates with an affinity radius. After you take a certain amount of damage, after a certain duration, which is the protection duration, 6 seconds, it will end, and based off damage taken, you will be given crit chance. This crit chance has a hard cap of 50%, and it is multiplied by 4 on headshots, and it is flat crit. So if you have a weapon with 5% crit chance, it'll be at 55%. But if you get headshots, it'll be at 205%, assuming you're at the cap. This hard cap of 50% is unaffected by strength. So strength does not affect how much crit your 4 gives. It only affects how fast you build it up based off damage taken. Now, it does not take very much damage. If you have no strength, you're only going to need maybe 5,000 damage to cap it out, something like that. So it's really easy, yeah. Oh wait, it actually shows right here, crit per 100 damage. So 1,000 damage is going to be 15%, 3. Yeah, so around 3,500 damage without any strength is already going to cap it out. It's against enemies level like 500 or higher, you're instantly going to cap it out. That being said, you're still going to want to build strength because it does affect your 2, and it's going to affect the helmet that we're going to be using. I'll go over in a minute. But it's not really useful for your 4. So it will then give retaliation duration, right? That's the crit bonus. So you activate this, you can see damage prevented. Once that ends, the 6 seconds, now we get 12 seconds of bonus crit. It automatically gives 5%, not counting bonus damage you take. Now, that's pretty good, mostly because it's flat crits, so you can use it on weapons with horrible base crit chance, but good crit multipliers, like, say, Kufa Nukor. And because it's affecting teammates with an affinity radius, it'll also give them a buff. Again, you're going to be using him mostly for yourself, but it can be nice for teammates. And since it's affinity radius, it's not going to be affected by nuking your range. Something you can do to make it better for your teammates, which also helps since he could use a bit more survivability, is if you run Vazarin and you have Mending Unity. Increases affinity radius by 25 meters. That's for yourself. Base is 50, so that increases the radius you can give your teammates the buffs by 50%. That's pretty huge. So that's what I like to run with him normally. Now, on to the build. This is what we're going to be using. Pillage, again, I know, I put Pillage on everything. It's like my version of Nourish. Pillage is incredible because his 1 gives shields, and that's important to be able to cast his 2. It's also important to shield gate and not die. But if you want to build all in for strength and duration, you have to nuke your range. And that makes his one really bad. So we're going to ignore that and go for Pillage instead, which will give us even more shields. And if enemies are high level, we can get all of our shields back in a single cast instead of like multiple cast and being based off how many enemies hit. We can nuke our range and we can armor strip because armor stripping is something he is lacking. He's got plenty of damage, but he doesn't have armor strip. So without armor stripping, that damage isn't going to be very useful unless you're going for slash. So Pillage is really, really good here. We build all in on strength. We need 328% with corrosive projection to get a full strip in a single cast. So that's what we have, corrosive projection. Power drift, transient, blind rage, augur secrets, umbral intensify. Bolt augmented here is just for extra strength. You don't need it, though you will if you decide to run something other than power drift. Like, for example, if you had it prime sure-footed or you go normal sure-footed. Because you need 320, you'd be 6% away, so then you'd only need like 30 kills with Molt Augmented. But for now, we'll be sticking with Power Drift, because it's easier to get, and it makes the build easier to use. Then we have Prime Flow, so we have more Energy Max, Prime Continuity, Narrow-Minded for lots of duration. We have it, you can go more duration if you want, but I like 200%. So a big debate is, should you use Lasting Covenant? Headshot kills increase crit chance bonus duration by 3 seconds. And that is affected by duration, so 200%, that'd be extra 6 seconds on our 4 every headshot kill we get. Meaning, as long as you get headshots often enough, you can have 100% uptime on your 4. I do not believe that is the play. Now, a video another person did on YouTube, a big YouTuber that I know a lot of people don't like if you don't like the meta, knightmareframe, he did a video going over Harrow, and while I didn't agree with everything he said in this video, I strongly agree with his stance on the augments. This augment is doo-doo water, okay? It is not, it's conflicting, because one of the best parts about your 4 is the damage immunity, because he has really long cast times. As you can see, that takes a long time. Sometimes you'll want to cast it twice just to get max duration. This, you have to channel this. You are very vulnerable to dying. So being able to cast your 4, have complete damage immunity, run around, kill an enemy, get to objective, cast your abilities, doing whatever you have to do, is very, very nice. Like in this duration, I can cast my 2. Right here, we'll let it reset first. Go back in here. So if I cast my 4, I can go 4. Then we go cast my 1 for Pillage, cast my 2, cast my 3, let the energy build up to at least like 40, cast my 2 again, it ends, my shield gate happens, and then assuming I'm not out of energy, I can Pillage and pull it back and have my shields, assuming I attacked an enemy. So all of my abilities are up, all of the enemies are armor stripped, I still have my shields, and I would then have the damage buff from my 4. That immunity is very important. Think of it sort of like a high tide, low tide, right? Low tide for when you're immune to damage. High tide is when you have deal big damage from crits. That is, in my opinion, the best way to play him. The augment is not good at all. I mean, it can be on the low end if you don't need to not die, but it's just those 12 seconds with the duration I have of immunity are so huge, especially since it can also apply to your allies. It gives a lot of breathing room to cast abilities or get to objectives and do anything you need to. Then we have Arcane Consequence. The Arcanes are totally up to preference. You don't need anything specific. I have this just for parkour velocity, so we're faster to get around, and we're already going for headshots anyways, so I figure it might as well. Some other options are Energize. Yes, you already have infinite energy from your 3, but if you bottom out sometimes because you don't get kills, this can help you get it back. Aegis for survivability. If you don't go Pillage, you can actually go Combat Discipline and Arcane Avenger for even more flat crits, or just in general, if you're taking a lot of hits, you can go Arcane Avenger in general for another 45% flat crits. So you'll have, if with this your 4 maxed out, that's 95% on body shots and 245% on headshots for your flat crit chance buff. Barrier is also a good option for survivability, or Molt Augmented if you want to get even more from your 3. So it's really up to preference. You don't need certain arcanes. Brill's Hatred just for a bit of efficiency, because I feel like negative efficiency can be a real pain when his 4 costs so much, and it can be expensive spamming your pillage and penance. So sometimes you do end up botting out if you're not careful. The extra 15% efficiency is nice. Then the 65% shield capacity lets us get over 1150 shields for the full 2.5-second shield gate, which we'll always get back thanks to pillage. So we have massive fire rate / attack speed, insane reload speed, full armor strip, lots of getting our shields back, so we have a full shield gate as well, which is at 2.5, infinite energy so long as we get kills, and then switching between complete damage immunity and massive buffs to damage if you crit. He has a lot going for him. I think he's extremely underrated. I know, again, I say that about everything, but he's a much better frame than people make him out to be. You can build range if you wanted to use him as a support to give energy to teammates, but there's better frames to do that, which is why I prefer him by myself. More like he's a good weapons platform with some support capability, and he's quite nice. Now, we're going to show him off with the new core, a weapon with terrible base crit, but an absurd crit multiplier. So, we'll use here we go, a damage build. Lethal Torrent, Prime Heat Charge, you don't need this. We can just switch this out for a normal one. You don't need this. Prime Target Cracker is nice, though, for the extra crit damage. 10.5 crit multiplier. And only 7% crit chance, but that's going to be way higher. We're going to be able to get guaranteed orange crits. Cascadia Flare for extra damage, this for ammo. This is unnecessary. I just like the extra reload speed and stats chance, but you can run anything else that you would prefer. We'll actually run nothing there for right now. So, let's reset the enemies. We're going to cast this. Then it's going to recharge. We're going to unpause the AI because we need to build up our 4. Cast this again. Run in. We won't armor strip them just so I can show off damage from the insane crits. Oh, my friend's calling me daddy in the chat. Wait for this to build up. Now, survivability is a problem most of the time. We want to spam pillage, but I want to... I guess we might need to not die. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's kind of hard to test in this situation because you want to spam pillage, right? And armor strip, and that's going to massively increase your damage. But I want to show this off without armor stripping. Oh, wait a second. I am big dumb. I can literally just make myself invincible. I'm going to be real honest, guys. I forgot that was a thing. So, there we go. Normally, again, you'll be spamming pillage, but right now we're just showing it against armored guys with the massive crit from new core. Wait till that ends. And now, look at that. Just enemies? There's enemies here? This is without any armor strip here. No armor strip, no slash. I only have 1 primed mod on, target cracker, no ribbon. I have an entirely empty mod slots. This is pretty insane if you ask me. It's quite nice. And then if you wanted to, again, bam, armor strip, now watch. Did you see how fast that guy died? Still level 175 corrupted heavy gunner on Steel Path. Absolutely deleted. Now we don't even have our 4 up, we have Arcane Avenger. Like, this is very strong. Especially with the new core. You can use it with other weapons. This is the main weapon that shines, but any weapon that is going to get bonuses from crit chance are going to be able to make use of this frame, as well as the fire rate and reload speed. So if you are spamming weapons, though, you do have to be careful of ammo, which is why pistol ammo mutation, but not all weapons have this problem. As far as pets, any pet you want works. I don't really think there's somebody you need with them, so if I were to recommend a specific pet, I mean, probably Worm Prime, just for convenience sake, because it's nice to have. Carrier Prime is nice for the ammo since you are having insane fire rate and reload speed. Or Nautilus if you want some grouping, because that's like the only thing he's lacking in his build now. Because spamming Pillage, you get armor strip, survivability, insane damage, insane energy. All we're missing is grouping. So you can go Nautilus if you want. But overall, whatever pet you want works. So that's going to be it for the Harrow build. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, dislike the video. If you did, maybe like the video. And if you want to see more horribly low quality videos about interesting stuff in Warframe and maybe some other games soon, subscribe.